You've probably used the phrase dog mom or dog dad before. Maybe you said it with a little hey laugh, a little shrug, because saying it seriously, saying times this animal sees me as a parent, feels like the kind of thing people would roll their eyes at. Like you're projecting, like you're anthropomorphizing, like you're one of those people who can't tell the difference between a pet and a child. But here's what the science is starting to reveal. And it's not ambiguous, it's not metaphorical, it's not you projecting. Your dog doesn't think of you in some vague, abstract way as the human who feeds me. They have built an entire emotional architecture around you. And that architecture looks, in ways researchers are still struggling to fully explain, remarkably like the bond between a child and a parent. Not a version of it, not a simplified copy. The same pattern, the same neurochemistry, the same behavioral markers developmental psychologists use to identify secure attachment in human infants. So maybe it's time to stop laughing off the phrase dog parent and start understanding what it actually means. Here are 5 signs your dog considers you their parent, backed by science. Is less than number is greater than sign 1. They look at your face before making decisions. Imagine you're walking your dog and they spot something unfamiliar, a strange object, a new person, another dog they're not sure about. What do they do before approaching or retreating? They look at you, not at the door, not at the exit, not at the threat, at your face. And they read it in real time, faster than most humans can consciously process, searching for information about whether this situation is safe. Psychologists call this social referencing. It's the same behavior human toddlers display when they encounter something uncertain. They turn to look at their parent's face to gauge the emotional temperature of the room. If the parent looks calm, the child explores. If the parent looks worried, the child retreats. Dogs do this, and they don't do it with strangers. They don't do it with the person who walks them occasionally or the neighbor who gives them treats. They do it with you. Researchers like Brian Hare at Duke University have spent years documenting this. What they've found is that dogs are uniquely attuned to human facial expressions in a way wolves are not. Even wolves raised by humans from birth, socialized in every other way, don't check in the way your dog does. The domestic dog isn't just reading your face. It's relying on your face as its primary navigation system. Think about the trust that requires. Your dog enters an uncertain situation, and its first instinct isn't to flee or fight. It's to check in with you. It's to ask silently, "Are we okay?" That's not the behavior of an animal that sees you as a food source. That's the behavior of someone checking in with the person they trust most in the world. Sign 2. They use you as a secure base. In the 1970s, developmental psychologist Mary Ainsworth designed what's now called the strange situation test. A mother and infant enter an unfamiliar room. The child explores, cautiously at first, then with more confidence. A stranger enters. The mother leaves. The child shows distress. The mother returns. The child runs to her, settles, and then, and this is the key, resumes exploring. That sequence explore, distress at separation, relief at reunion, return to exploration is the gold standard for secure attachment in human children. Researchers have now run versions of this test with dogs and their owners. The results are, depending on how much you've been paying attention to your dog, either completely unsurprising or quietly staggering. Dogs whose owners are present explore more freely. They investigate the unknown. They take risks. When the owner leaves, the dog's exploratory behavior collapses. The dog shows measurable signs of distress, elevated cortisol, whining, pacing. When the owner returns, the dog settles, and then crucially, it goes back to exploring. The exact same pattern, the exact same behavioral sequence Ainsworth documented in human children. You are not your dog's owner in the way you own a car or a couch. You are its secure base. You are the thing it measures safety against. Without you in the room, the world becomes uncertain. With you present, everything becomes possible. If that's not parenthood, what is? Sign 3. The oxytocin loop is running between you. In 2015, researcher Takefumi Kikusui and his team in Japan measured something remarkable. They had dogs and their owners sit together and make eye contact. Then they measured oxytocin levels in both species. Oxytocin is sometimes called the bonding hormone, but that phrase undersells it. Oxytocin is the neurochemical mechanism through which mammals form lasting emotional attachments. It's what floods a mother's brain when she holds her newborn. It's what surges during moments of deep intimacy between partners. It's the biological infrastructure of love. What Kikusui found was a mutual feedback loop. Dogs who gazed at their humans showed elevated oxytocin. The humans who gazed back showed elevated oxytocin too. Each reinforced the other. Each gaze deepened the bond. The same biological mechanism that bonds parent to infant was activating not just in one direction, but flowing both ways, building something neither species had fully anticipated. Here's the part that should make you pause. This loop doesn't happen between humans and wolves. Even wolves, raised by humans, socialized by humans, comfortable around humans, they don't create this response. The loop is specific to dogs. Something in the long arc of domestication didn't just change their behavior. It rewired their neurobiology to reach across the species barrier and find you. Every time your dog holds your gaze not nervously, not demandingly, but with that quiet, steady look that feels like it's seeing something in you that's not random. That's the loop running. That's your dog's brain telling your brain, silently and chemically, you are the one. Sign 4. They read your emotions across a species barrier. Consider what your dog is actually doing when you're upset. You haven't said anything. You haven't changed your routine. You might be sitting in the same chair you always sit in, looking roughly the same way you always look, and yet your dog knows. It approaches differently. It moves closer. It might rest its head on your knee or simply lie down next to you in a way that feels intentional, deliberate, aimed at you. Researchers at the University of Lincoln found that dogs integrate information from both visual and auditory emotional cues to form a coherent picture of human emotional states. They don't just hear your voice. They don't just see your face. They combine the two in ways that suggest a genuine, cross-species emotional recognition system. Dogs can distinguish between happy and sad human facial expressions. They can distinguish between angry and fearful tones of voice. And critically, they respond differently depending on what they detect, approaching more readily when they read positive emotion, approaching more gently and carefully when they read distress. Think about the cognitive sophistication this requires. Your dog has never been human. It has never experienced human grief, human anxiety, human disappointment from the inside. And yet, it has learned across an evolutionary gulf so wide we still don't fully understand how it was bridged to recognize your emotional states and respond to them in ways that are not random, not self-interested, but clearly, measurably aimed at your well-being. That is not the behavior of an animal that sees you as a provider. That is the behavior of someone who loves you. Sign 5. They view separation as a threat to their safety. Let me ask you something. When you leave the house, what does your dog do? If your answer is times waits by the door, you're describing something that goes deeper than you might realize. Dogs who are securely bonded to their humans don't just experience separation as boredom or mild inconvenience, they experience it as a genuine safety disruption. The cortisol levels of dogs separated from their primary attachment figure rise measurably and remain elevated for extended periods. The dog is not just passing time, the dog is, at a physiological level, waiting for safety to return. But here's what's even more revealing. When you come back, when you walk through that door and your dog greets you with an intensity that sometimes embarrasses you in front of guests, that's not just excitement, that's the resolution of a stress response. That's the nervous system saying, the anchor is back, everything is safe again. And the speed with which they settle, the way they can go from full body celebration to calm contentment in moments, that's not inconsistent. That's the defining feature of secure attachment. The distress was real, but so is the trust that you'll return. Your dog has built its entire sense of safety around the expectation that you exist, that you come back, that you are in the most literal sense available to an animal without language home. Slow down here and really sit with what all of this means. We keep asking the wrong question about dogs. We ask whether they love us, whether they know we love them, whether the relationship is real, and those questions matter, but they also miss something. The science isn't just telling us that dogs love us, it's telling us something far more specific and, in its own quiet way, far more staggering. Your dog doesn't just feel affection for you. Your dog has organized its entire emotional world around you. You are the secure base. You are the oxytocin trigger. You are the face it checks when the world becomes uncertain. You are the return that ends the stress response. You are the constant in a life that otherwise, for all the comfort we provide, the animal does not fully control. You are, by every behavioral and neurochemical measure available to science, your dog's parent. Not metaphorically, not as a cute thing we say on Instagram, functionally, neurologically, developmentally. And the fact that this bond arose between two species that share no common language, no common evolutionary path, no natural reason to trust each other, that fact is not just touching, it's one of the more remarkable biological achievements in the history of life on this planet. So the next time you hesitate before calling yourself a dog parent, the next time you laugh it off or qualify it or wonder if you're being one of those people, maybe don't. Maybe just stand in the truth of it, that an entirely different species looked at you and decided, without words, without reason, without needing to understand the biology, that you are the one, their person, their anchor, their parent. And if that's not one of the most human things you could possibly be, I don't know what is. Think about your dog for a moment. Which of these signs feels most true in your relationship? Have you noticed them checking your face before they do something uncertain? Share your story in the comments. I read every one.